Broads Media.
All right, so I normally do this opening after I record the show, and I'm just going to let you know that I am pissed at Doc. I was really pissed when I started the show, so wow, this is going to be a fun listen, I'm sure. If you are new to the channel, make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate it. If you're looking to buy tickets to go to any event, any game, any NBA, NHL, NFL games, promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page will get you $20 off of your ticket purchase. So if you're getting hit with those fees at the end and you go, what the hell is this? I thought it was only $50, not $70. It is $50. Promo code BROADS, SeatGeek's checkout. Get yourself to a game today. Lastly, TikTok at Broads Media. We're implementing a lot of fun there. With that being said, enjoy the show. Doc Rivers is such a clown. Doc Rivers does it again. The Sixers blow a 24-point lead. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not even putting the blame on him. I'm more disgusted with his reaction, with his tone, what he thinks he is, because he's not as talented as he actually believes deep down inside. The reason why the Sixers lost is because a lot of the players on the team tonight flat out sucked. Furkan Korkmaz played 39 minutes and had 5 points. Why? Because he sucks. You got Charlie Brown out there playing 22 minutes. He can't make a damn layup. He made 0 field goals. Isaiah Joe, who had to start tonight because no Seth Curry, no Matisse Thybulle, no Danny Green, he played 15 minutes and made 1 shot all night. That is why you lost. Joel Embiid tried everything he possibly could, had 40 points, passes behind his back, a block that was nearly impossible to make with his recovery, drilled a 3 on the opposite side of the court, and it's a shame because when he did make those nice passes, his teammates weren't able to deliver and hold their end of the bargain. So strategically and all, the biggest blame goes to lack of execution, lack of scoring, lack of shooting the basketball and having that on the floor. But with that said, the fact that he answers a legitimate question about how much do you see, coach, in a 24-point blowout, keep in mind here, that's the context. You blow a 20-plus point lead. There is still coaching involved in the loss. Not the biggest reason, because I don't think many coaches win with that type of effort by everybody not named Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, who did have some nice buckets in there. I know the free throw late definitely hurt them, but when the game of runs were happening for both sides, the Sixers started off not being able to buy anything. He had some nice buckets there, and then in the fourth quarter, he made some shots there, and defensively as well, stealing the ball right by the basket, easy lay-in for 2. Like, he did okay. Him, Maxey, they did okay. Maxey 3 of 6 from 3. But where's everybody else? Drummond's throwing up nonsense and garbage. Some of the worst possessions I've ever seen in NBA history. I swear to you, I don't even know what the hell he's doing out there at times. Sometimes you just have those scratching the head type of moments because it's absurd. So that's the reason why. But after you blow a big lead, how much do you believe went on? In terms of coaching, how much of that related to the loss? Would you ask Greg Popovich that? Yeah! Yes! If you lost that way, yes! Take it like a man! I had a role. Even if you don't like the question, because clearly he didn't, you just maneuver through it, give a nothing answer, talk in circles, and then move on to the next one. But to look down upon media members the way that this guy does, he's a clown. Very reasonable, honest questions have been asked him, and he treats those people like shit. And before you think, oh, well, these people who write stories do the same thing, and they create all this drama, yada, yada, yada. Nothing has been wrong with the approach by these media members since Doc Rivers has been here, and all he does is believe that he's so much better than everybody else. You could just date back to, it's something I will never forget. Kevin Kincaid crossing broad. Hey, Doc, do you ever think about putting Ben Simmons on the bench in crucial moments in the fourth quarter? And the fact that Doc had the balls to mock that and say that that's foolish, you don't know anything about the sport of basketball. Then you had to do it. So stop, Doc. You've been through this how many times? We've been through this as a city how many times? We're not dumb. Hey, Nick, run the ball. You got to run the ball. What ends up happening? Nick Sirianni starts running the football. Things look a little bit different, huh? Hey, Doc, you ever think you got to pull Ben Simmons out of the game? Oh, look what happened. Now, look, you still have a hole in general in your team when that's the case, but it makes sense. We know what we're talking about. There was a role that you had in this game. Just say what the role was. I know you don't want to throw players under the bus, so he would never answer it in the direction of, my guys didn't make shots tonight, and specifically target specific individuals. But there's way, as an NBA professional, someone who's been around the block as long as he has, the way that's the way that he does it, it pisses me off, and it's very unprofessional. You know what? It tells me something about who he is, because there's other ways to handle it if that's the case. Just give someone nothing. That's the way you handle it. What you're doing is showing a bit of frustration, and that tells me that you feel guilty. That tells me that you feel a certain type of way about, he said, I deserve it. As if, come on now, that was so disrespectful. You blew a 24-point lead. That's disrespectful, Doc. This guy's a clown. A clown. He's a clown. He is a clown. Even with the strategic side, basketball, a lack of execution, I should say. Even though the lack of execution is there, take that aside. The players lost the game more than Doc lost the game today. With that said, I can clearly still be frustrated to this degree with the way the leader of the basketball team, other than Joel Embiid, because this guy is ridiculous, is targeting others out there. Don't like the tone, don't love it, and it shows me signs of a failure, honestly. It shows me signs of a guy who can't control his emotions. And guess what? If you're saying, bro, you can't either, I don't give a fuck. I'm not an NBA head coach. I don't have to. This is what I do. You're in that spot? Different ball game. This guy's a fool. Can't stand him. Can't stand him at all. When the zone gets bad and they can't beat the zone, you know why they can't beat the zone? I'm going to be objective here. They don't have guys who can make shots. You bring the double team to Joel Embiid. Yeah, there's not a lot of options there. Don't play Isaiah Joe. Who you playing? Don't play Furka. Who you playing? Don't play Charlie Brown. Who are you playing? You don't have many guys to play. And I see that. Both can be true. Doc Rivers continues to handle stressful situations like a child and like an unprofessional. And guys on the floor tonight did not make their shots. And that was a massive reason why the Clippers went on their run in that third quarter. And, you know, there's some people out there going, well, you got to put Joel in. You can't sit Joel. You can't play Joel 48 minutes either. It's a bad loss. It's a bad loss. But I had somebody tweet at me after the game, bro, this is a culture problem. This team dating back to the last 5 years, even under Brett Brown, all they do is blow leads. Look through the NBA regular season. Good teams blow an 18-point lead, a 20-point lead. That happens. If you watch this team right now and say that there's a cultural problem with the Joel, right, the way that he's playing at an elite MVP form, trust me. This is more of just a hiccup than, like, you can't tie Joel Embiid at 22 to Joel Embiid right now. Joel Embiid at 24 and Joel Embiid right now. You have Joel Embiid playing this way. There's no cultural problem, trust me. There's a lack of talent problem. There's no culture problem. This is the style of player that you need to win an NBA championship playing this way. What needs to happen is, of course, the surrounded pieces. And I'll get to what Daryl Morey said. I want to talk a little bit more about this game specifically, and then I'll get to what Daryl Morey said on the Mike Missinelli show on 97.5 The Fanatic to just kind of go over that. But yeah, I mean, look, late in this game, you had the rebound issues. They were getting second chance opportunities, the Clippers were. Without Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they made some effort plays, hustle plays, got on the floor, got the basketball when needed, and that was the difference for sure is, you know, getting that hustle and grabbing some of those boards, which has been a brutal situation for this team for so long now. They just can't win that. They don't know how to win that whatsoever. Tyrese Maxey at the end had a shot. He probably rushed the floater, to be fair. But I'm not going to sit here and criticize Tyrese Maxey and say the reason why this game ended the way that it did is because of Tyrese Maxey. Hell, I can make the argument without Tyrese Maxey making some of those threes, which, by the way, is improving at such a high clip. I'm looking at him now when he take those shots as no longer, I don't know, and I cringe a little bit. It's no. This is going in. You could see that he feels that way too, and Tyrese Maxey's going. Not that tonight's the night to kind of give him that praise, but I'm just saying in general, I'm not blaming him for the loss tonight just because of that last effort shot, but you would think getting the ball to the big man is in play and something that should have happened. They went small, and when they go small, Embiid could even eat more than he already ate throughout the entire game. He was so crazy good, though. Seriously, that block where he recovered to get back to the rim, nearly impossible, especially at his size, to move that way. And then cashing in a three at the other end is just remarkable. There was a sequence where, I don't even know if I might have even said this already, but he had an awesome pass to Furkan Korkmaz as he's dribbling towards, he's at the right side of the three-point line on the court, right by not the corner, where the corner and the round meet. It's a word, and I'm drawing a blank. You get my point. And he starts running towards the free throw line hard. Defense is starting to put some pressure on him. Makes an absurd pass to Korkmaz, who hit that three. He didn't make many shots today. He hit that three, though. Next possession, coast-to-coast slam. Possession after that, picking the ball up in transition off the dribble and knocking down a mid-range jumper. Like I said, I might have even already said that, but if I didn't, he was all over the place in so many good ways, showing off his versatility. 40, 13, 6, passing the ball from one side of the court to the other, over his head, blistering speed, fastball mechanics, right into the pocket, right perfectly in the area for a shooter to catch, feet already set, and let it fly. It just stings sometimes where some of these players just can't score. Charlie Brown can't make anything at all. He can't. He doesn't know how. He's got some energy. He's got some burst. But we go through this with every single damn player in this city, it seems, that just have something on the outside. And I've stressed this before. By no means am I expecting this kid to be a stud based off of where he is now and his journey to get to the NBA? But it still doesn't make it any easier when you're a half inch from the basket and you try and throw a little how do you do off the glass or just right at the rim and somehow it's long, hits the backside of the rim, and then here goes the Clippers in transition the other way. Zone hurt, doubling Joel hurt. But Joel reads it way better than he ever has, and he did find some open guys. It just stings when it results in 0 points with wide open looks. That will cost you a basketball game, and that absolutely happened. This was a wild one for sure. Such a massive run in one direction for the Sixers in the first half, and then with a blink of an eye, it goes the other way. And there were opportunities, plenty of opportunities to win that game late, and they just didn't execute on this night. They did it. This one stings. This one's a bad one. I even went through when they won against Miami, right? So it was the second half of a back-to-back. They were on a nice streak. They beat Boston, and then they beat Miami, and they had no business winning. And I said, that's a really good win. I don't want to make it seem like it's bigger than what it is, but it's a really good character win that tells you something about what is inside that locker room. And I value that. I don't want to downplay the importance of how we analyze such a big time situation throughout the regular season. But with that said, we know there's probably, this kind of relates to baseball, right? If you go through 162, there'll be 60 wins, 60 losses. What do you do with the rest of the games? And that will dictate who you are as a Major League Baseball team. Well, in an 82-game regular season of NBA basketball, there'll be ugly losses, there'll be great wins, and then what do you do with some of those other ones will tell you who you are as an NBA team. So that Miami Heat game, that was checked off as a strong win that we put a little more stock into and a little bit more energy, a little more emotion into. And then this, same thing. We put a lot of emotion into it. It's a tough one. Ty Lue without the stars, right? They were depleted as well. It wasn't just the Sixers that were lacking in players. And especially, I mean, you got the best player on the floor. It shouldn't happen that way. But I do think it's fair to note that this is inevitable throughout an 82-game sample. It doesn't make it easier. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make me feel like I'm just accepting it. But in terms of the bigger picture, I do think it's fair to say, okay, what do they do the next time they touch the floor? And that will matter to me. That tells me more about this loss. What if they play next and win by 25? Joel puts up 42. Other players step up, right? I mean, it changes everything. But for right now, in the moment, by all means, have at it. Have that knee-jerk reaction of screaming and yelling, because I think it is warranted while not losing sight of what I just laid out and how every season goes for basically every team. You could probably go through every NBA team a year and see 20-point blown leads at some point. How many? Well, yeah, that differentiates for sure, but, you know, we'll see. We'll see what this means for the bigger of it all. Where else were we with that? Yeah, that's basically what I got on that game. I do have the Daryl Morey stuff, and of course some Anytime Hotline things as well. Let's get to the Morey thing that was stated on 97.5 The Fanatic. First, D. Simone Jewelers. You know that I love D. Simone Jewelers to death. They are my jewelers, and I go to them for every need that I have in life because of how great they are. I got my fiance's engagement ring from them, and it was such a great experience. I sat down, they educated me about the difference in clarity, the difference in sizes, the difference in shapes, what she was looking for. We went outside, and they were showing me all sorts of different looks in all sorts of different tools, and it just made me feel connected to what I was purchasing, and it matters that much more when I see the diamond on Kara's ring finger, because I know what went through that process, and I truly did pick that. They're a family-owned business located in Haddonfield, New Jersey, previously in Jewelers Row. And I'll tell you this, they have the best prices in the market, and they work with you to get the best design as well. True story. I know somebody that went to a different spot. I talked to them about D. Simone. I told them what I got, showed them everything, the price, and they couldn't believe it. They instantly returned. They did not propose yet. They returned that item, went to D. Simone, took a hit financially because the other place wouldn't give them full money back, of course, and it all worked out. But, you know, he always praises them and says, bro, I mean, you're a miracle worker. I say, I know. I mean, that's why I'm here on Earth. But seriously, Will, Lou, Nick, and Mike, they treat you like you're a D. Simone. Custom jewelry, design, appraisals, repairs, watch repairs, battery replacement, so much more. DSimoneJewelers.com is their website. And if you tell them that Brode sent you, oh, you're in business. You're going to get even better. Even better. You tell them Brode sent you. So D. Simone Jewelers, make sure you check them out. So let's get to what Daryl Morey had to say. He basically laid out everything that I have been saying for months and months and months. For the people out there that say, go get something better than what you have now because Ben Simmons isn't doing diddly squat for you, the percentage of jump that you take for trading a Ben Simmons for just random pieces right now, if you say you're wasting this season, you're wasting multiple years of Joel Embiid if that's the case, because you have one swing at this, one possible opportunity, whether you want to agree or not. Ben Simmons does have value in this league. And okay, so maybe I was at top 25. Now I'm going to top 30, top 35, top 4. Because of Joel Embiid playing so special, maybe I'm more willing. This is nothing other than a psychological game and people picking up the phone after they possibly hear that. See, I saw the reaction of Daryl Morey did a full 180. Before it was, I'm not trading him. It'll take 4 years. Now it's, it's, hey, Sacramento, come pick up the phone. No. This is where it's not even close to thinking that he said that he's not going to trade him for 4 years. That was a scare. That was a threat. That wasn't real. If you believe that that was seriously what it was going to take, then you were just a fool and you just convinced yourself something that was never actually truly on the table. It was a statement to Rich Paul and Ben Simmons in the early stages to let them know, yo, motherfucker, if you want to do this, I'm willing. So test me on it. And look, I mean, Daryl Morey knew it wouldn't be that long in general. It's just so the message was out there that I'm playing hardball and you better strap up and buckle up that seatbelt because I'm here for it. He didn't truly mean what he said. It is how good general managers, good president of basketball operations work in this league. Play that game of the psychological, have people think, let them know you're Tommy Tough Nuts because that works, okay? You can't get walked over and be someone that's going to be a bitch to what some of these players want, especially when you know that this is so crucial and changes the landscape of the entire Sixers organization for years to come, and you don't get a second chance once you pull the trigger on a certain trade. So, now that Joel Embiid's playing a certain way, hey, maybe we're more willing to go top 30, top 35, top 4. I got no problem with what Daryl Morey said. And quite frankly, I think he laid out an awesome type of statement and kind of went down to, look, multiple teams, the Sacramento Kings could work, but probably likely to happen than to happen at the trade deadline. This is no big news. This is nothing shocking. This is what I thought we were. This is where I thought we were at as Sixers fans, waiting for this whole thing to play out. And Daryl Morey just pretty much said, yeah, this is it. This is it. And this shouldn't be shocking, I guess, is my point. I'm all pissed off today. If you've seen spit flying around town today, sometimes it happens a lot. Sometimes it doesn't happen too much. Tonight's a night where it's nonstop flying, and I'm okay with that because that's just me being pure in the moment for sure. I heard this interesting take, though. If Ben Simmons, okay, Joel's playing so special. I'll put it in sort of a number range from 1 to 10, right? If Joel Embiid played at a 10 last year, and Ben Simmons in the playoffs, specifically that Hawks series late, played at a 1, you can make the argument 0, but let's say he played at a 1 for the defense on Trae Young, let's say, and Joel was a 10. If Ben Simmons comes back and play, and I don't think he's going to come back. The fan base, he'll never show his face again because he's afraid, and it's clear that he doesn't have that will and that determination in this sport as an athlete to want to prove everybody wrong and to be open with everything. It's clear he's gone. I'm just saying in a hypothetical world, because Joel Embiid is playing at maybe a 12 this year, where last year it was a 10, now he's playing at a 12, maybe even a 13. If Ben Simmons comes back and plays at a 3 instead of a 1, a 3, is it possible that that's enough? Because Daryl Morey was saying, of course I'd bring him back. Of course we want him back. Now, I think that's more of 1, it would help out compensation if he finally gets his ass back on the court. And 2, it's just to deliver once again the cycle. Of course we want him back because that helps out negotiations. We witnessed the same thing happen with Howie Roseman at the end of the year press conference when speaking about the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Whether they mean it or they don't mean it, what they're saying, it's also others around the league hear something, and then when they start talking, it's, didn't you hear what I said? You didn't hear what I was talking about during the end of the year stuff? It's all a game. It's all playing that mode. And I'm okay with that. That's the right way to handle things. But it is fascinating to think about. It really is. I don't think it would ever happen, and the answer to me is no. You have a point guard that can't shoot, and it screws up spacing, and then you got all sorts of problems because Matisse Thybulle, you won't be able to play certain rotations, so you can't play Matisse and Ben. You got 2 0 shooter, but is Joel going to draw so much attention that Ben Simmons in the dunker spot? Matisse Thybulle could play in the dunker spot, and Ben Simmons, there's no reason for me to really go down that. There's a 0% chance that's actually going to happen. I just thought when that occurred, it was like a fascinating little like random barroom conversation. You got some cold ones with the boys. You're shooting the shit at the bar. You're screaming at one another, right? You're getting all crazy. That's the type of dialogue that gets generated, of course, at least in my friend group for sure. But yeah, I just look at it as Daryl Morey is exactly where I'm at. Perfect. That's where I want him to be at, and there's a reason why he's doing it. There's no one else in the world I would rather have in this position other than Daryl Morey. I'm sure they're maybe more interested in a Tyrese Halliburton than I thought, because it's clear that the Sacramento Kings do have something that they're willing to make a trade with. The problem is it'll take a third team, and De'Aaron Fox will probably have to be on the move. And he said it's not for a lack of trying. Look, I'm willing to try this, but it takes multiple teams and other squads to realize, hey, we're not as good as we thought. We need a major shakeup. We got to try something different. So it's not just the Sixers. And by the way, ballsack.com or whatever he threw out there. Yeah, I told you about the whole thing about reports, the Athletic reporting something, the Inquirer reporting something, this person reporting something, that person reporting something. Relax on what you're reading, because people want certain topics out there and certain agendas out there. And now that the trade deadline is really starting to hit us, it's going to get even crazier and even wilder. So right now, I'm still in the wait and see mode. I've never been in this whole, I'm going to speculate, because I've always talked about it's going to take so many different moving pieces and people moving so many different cities and so many teams involved that you'll never be able to pick it. It's not one for one, unless this whole James Harden thing gets interesting, and who knows? I guess I can't rule that out either, knowing Daryl Morey's track record. So we'll just see. I'm in wait and see mode. I'm not in speculation mode. With that, we'll rock some anytime hotline calls here. The first text message comes from someone who did not leave their name. And, of course, when you text in at 856-442-9805 or call in, you can leave your name and where you're from, just so, there's a little bit of an emotional or a relationship there, a personal tie when you text in. But this is from a no name, and it's all capitals, and it's about Doc Rivers. Get Doc Rivers out of here now. How is this guy going to look at everyone in the face and react that way? He shows signs of being soft whenever a question is asked that he does not like to hear. What type of leader is that? Is that a way to defend his team? I do not get it. Same respect as Pop? How? Now, the how you defend the team thing, I've seen that all over. He doesn't want to throw guys under the bus, and I kind of mentioned that earlier on for sure. I don't know. I mean, that's a bizarre way of doing it, in my opinion. If I'm a player and I'm putting myself in that position, and let's say, because I've done, seen media availability and been inside locker rooms and whatnot, and I hear a coach say something publicly, and that was what they said, and that's the way they react, I'd be like, yeah, you had something to do about it, dude. What, do you get zero accountability ever? I love this. We have to hold our players accountable all the time, which we should. And with that said, well, I'm clearly not putting the number one blame on Doc Rivers. I think that is the most aware thing people should be fully aware of, right? I'm not putting all the blame. But if there's 10% and the question was asked, what do you think, Doc, in terms of coaching? How much played a role in this loss? And you thought it was 10? You thought it was 15? You say 10 or 50, or if you want to have your players back, I guess as we're talking about this out loud, no name, I'm going to answer your question. Because is this a way of defending your team? The way to defend your team, you would say something along this: it was on me. It was on me. That's what a player's coach would do, right? Instead of saying this and that, and well, only 5% or only 10% or nobody. No, look, you're questioning me. Nobody should question me. You say, it was on me. I'm the head coach. I'm at the top of this thing, and I made a mistake. I should have been better tonight. Whether you believe it or not, obviously he doesn't believe it, but to have your players back, that's what you would say. So to answer your question, as we're kind of reacting here, I would say, no, he's not protecting his team the more and more I think about it. If anything, it's almost the opposite. Because if he has to hold his players accountable all the time, and then when there's any criticism towards him, he shells up and he bottles it up and doesn't know how to take it, he starts using that bottled frustration up to start yapping at all the media members, asking very fair questions. Oh, man, what do we have here in Doc Rivers? Charles in Cali. Originally from Philadelphia. Awesome. Moving out west. I'm an East Coast guy, but that's awesome. I'm left speechless after seeing this team blow a 24-point lead to a team without Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Maybe the feeling wouldn't be as heartbreaking if Kawhi put us back in our place like we've witnessed in the past. Maybe I should not have even said his name, knowing PTSD is a real thing. Like you said before, Broach, what does this game mean? Let's see how they battle on Sunday in San Antonio against, ironically enough, Greg Popovich. That's a great point, Charles. Let's see, Coach. Let's see, Doc, what you're all about there. You know, you throw that name out there, you can't get your ass waxed in a coaching battle to Greg Popovich. That's for damn sure. But you're right. I like that mentality. I'm fully on board. That's how I assess a lot of things in sports. When you fail, okay, I'm not satisfied that you failed, but I understand that that's part of life and that's part of sports. What do you do with that adversity? What do you do with that loss? How do you handle that inside as a room, as a culture? What's your next outcome like? What is the result? How do you play? Do you fix the problems that happened? If you're up 24, do you win by 24 or do you win by 2 and squeak one out? Do you get uncomfortable? Do you get uncomfortable, but you at least make buckets and grab the rebounds next time? So you did learn from that. That's how I would look at it, Charles. So I'm right there with you, and I like that. Max just says, fire Doc Rivers tonight. All caps. A lot of all caps in the text messages tonight, as you could imagine. And that's kind of where we're going to let things go from here. Crazy night in Sixers land, and sometimes we just have these type of nights to let it all out. Sometimes I need this, and when Doc does it, I was sitting there with my fiance and the 2 pups, and as soon as he said that, she saw my face and my reaction too. I blurted stuff out. I yelled at the TV. I didn't yell at the TV all game long. That's right, you heard me. Even though it was as ugly as it was, I didn't scream. I didn't make a peep. Maybe once I did, ooh, when Joel Embiid had a big slam with some ferociousness involved, where it was with a ferocious dunk. I don't even know if ferociousness is a word. We do that a lot here. We just throw ness at the end of some things, and we make it work, and we make it fly. And if I didn't even say anything, maybe it just would have went smooth in transition, and no one would question me. But here we all now are questioning me, maybe even going to dictionary.com to see if it actually is a word. I digress. Where was I going with that? I do this way too much, where I lose my train of thought because I go on this ridiculous type of rant that makes no sense. Where was I going with that? Ferociousness. Joel Embiid. Really? I'm going to do this? I'm so disgusted with myself. I told myself, too, while I was doing that, don't do this, just finish it up. With Joel Embiid's ferociousness. Yep, I'm going to stop it because I'm bothered and I got to figure this out. 2 episodes in a row I had to do this. Yes, Kara saw my face and I even blurted out there, what the hell is that? I did a scream. The dogs jumped up. One of them has the cone on her head right now because she just got fixed. They started barking and yapping. What the hell is that? That got me more upset than anything else, whether that's fair or not, or right or wrong. My leader is acting that way? No, I don't like it. I don't like it. With that being said, I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today. Thank you so much. I love you all.